everybody in this shop stopped dead in their tracks.
Demi, I think, went to another plane of existence. Like, she started levitating.
Yes,
she saw Ken Marino.
Sup, Park Peeps? I'm Demi from Magical Hijinks.
And I'm entertainment journalist Joey Nolfi, strapping in for the Park Peeps podcast, the ultimate theme park show where unhinged passion, travel expertise, and coaster nerd chaos collide.
And this week we are breaking down all the new things coming to Walt Disney World and what it could mean for the future with our guest, James from Guide2WDW. So buckle up and pull up on that yellow strap as we dispatch for Season 2 of
the Park Peeps podcast.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hello, dear Park Peeps listeners, and welcome back to the show. I am Joey Nolfi, and today my co-host Demi of the Magical Hijinks YouTube channel and I are fittingly broadcasting from sacred ground here at Disney's Contemporary Resort, where we are standing in an officially and supernaturally verified, spiritually charged spot in a small circle of energy right under Mary Blair's Grand Canyon Concourse mural. Demi, what I have to check in. What kind of healing energy are you feeling in this moment?
Oh, like for sure, I'm feeling all these positive vibes. I'm on another astral plane right now, but I feel all of this wonderful, awesome, beautiful vibes for sure.
Is this a Muppet?
It's Janice.
Yep, that's what I... Mm-hmm.
You met her.
I did meet her. And I still, as much as we experienced all of this, I don't know if I'm glad I clocked that. That's all I will say. It took me a moment. I was like, Demi is just chilling out.
It's my bad Janice impression.
It wasn't
good, but it was Janice.
Hey, it made me know that it was Janice, so that must mean something. It's good. But I'm glad, Demi, you're picking up those vibes. It's this very appropriate character. I feel like she's out there. She's spacey. She's spiritual. She's feeling all the vibes under this Mary Blair.
For surely. Yes, now we needed Mary's energy today because Disney has announced a host of new additions coming atop an already stacked roster of additions that opened at the Florida parks over the last few weeks. And today on Park Peeps, which you should be subscribed and following at Park Peeps Pod on all socials, we're breaking down what it all means and why Disney could be on the verge of the dawn of a new era in the near future.
Now, one of these things that we will talk about a little bit later is this leaning into nostalgia and plussing classic things and bridging that gap, I think, between millennials who are aging and the magic that they felt as children. And I am so lucky. I don't know how this happened. Demi and I have been laughing about this for weeks of just why this worked out the way that it did. And Demi, obviously we know New Yorker, but there is a Disney store opening in New Jersey, which is somewhat close to Demi. And then the other one that they are opening is in freaking Pittsburgh, which is so crazy.
Such a random choice.
Don't understand how we lucked out in that regard, but
it's a gift to us.
It is. It's a gift. It's our wish.
It's our wish, even though I have to cross the George Washington Bridge to get there.
Well, yes, and I also have to cross the entire city of Pittsburgh with 900 bridges to get there. But I did, in fact, go. And continuing mine and Demi's little Disney store excursions, 2-minute tea time. After a lengthy absence, she is back because we have a live recording from the Disney store in Pittsburgh. And things got a little magical while I was there. So without further ado, a 2-minute tea time from what is now a historic relic, the Disney store in Pittsburgh. Park Peeps boots on the ground, reporting here, Joey Nolfi live from the Ross Park Mall in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we have just witnessed an epic unfolding of no, that's actually the wrong company, but an epic unfolding nonetheless, as a Disney store has just opened in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is one of 2 Disney stores that is planned to open this year for a limited time, the other one being in Paramus, New Jersey. Demi will probably yell at me because I'm pronouncing that wrong, but you know what? I don't care. This is really a historic event. It is so exciting to be here to see something that I never thought would happen in my lifetime ever again, ever since Disney started shuttering its stores all around the country. There's still a few that exist here and there, especially near the parks, but this is the first time in a very long time that you can just go to your local mall and go to a Disney store. Now, this one is, again, it is in a limited capacity. It is not remaining open for very long, but I have to say, it did feel nostalgic to be able to go to the mall and go into a Disney store, much like I used to when I was a child. Now, this one does lack the sort of whimsy, I would say, as the ones that we all grew up with in the 90s, where you would have the big giant character figures, you'd have some interactive elements. That one just kind of felt like a really 90s maximalist, whimsical edition. This is very much not that. This is very much the minimalist, corporate, chic Disney aesthetic. And a lot of the merch, I have to admit, did just kind of feel like overflow merch from the parks. Kind of like, well, we didn't sell these, people mover planters and succulent holders, so you know what, we're sending them off to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so Mary and her husband Bob can buy them. And you know what, Mary and her husband Bob, they might not go down to Orlando as much as I do, so that might be a really cool thing for them. However, I did recognize about 90% of the merch that I saw in there. There were some interesting toy items that obviously they don't sell in the parks, that I did see that was pretty cool, and there were some characters around. There was a photo opportunity, and I realized that I didn't actually ever in my life purchase a Mickey Mouse plush for myself, so I got that. And I got a nice little bag that said Disney Store limited time, and there's actually Pittsburgh specific shirt that has Mickey standing next to the Pittsburgh logo, which they were sold out of, but I'm going to go back and get next week. But all this to say, I think that it's really cool to see Disney leaning into the nostalgia. I think that it's something that older to mid-aged millennials have wanted and have thrown their business dollar behind. It's something that I think we're seeing in the parks happen a lot more. I just wish that the nostalgia that they were leaning into was the kind of nostalgia that we're asking for. And what I mean by that is it's not just the Disney Store itself that people want. Yes, we do. Obviously, it is a very exciting thing. However, we miss the Disney Store of our childhoods, and I just feel like going into the Disney Store to solely get the same kind of merch that we can get at the parks in a very sterile sort of white floor, muted colors, limited capacity, it's not really checking the same box. However, it did really touch a very magical part of me that has not really been explored in a long time. That feeling that you can't get when you go to the parks, when you're going to the mall with your parents when you're a kid, and you get excited to go into the Disney Store. And I have to say, I did feel that same feeling going into the mall, this time at the age of 36. Yes, I did say it. But yeah, I think that we just need to change the approach a little bit. And this is clearly testing out to see if, Pittsburgh and Paramus, New Jersey were clearly chosen as test markets for some reason. So, a lot of the stuff was selling. So, and it was decently crowded when I was in the store. I'm just now sitting in the mall like a freak recording a podcast. But it was really nice connecting with that sense of excitement that I haven't felt since I was a kid. So here's to more improved Disney stores coming soon to somewhere other than Pittsburgh and Paramus.
Now, I will say, after experiencing the Disney Store in Manhattan, not quite sure if anything can top the antics that we had there, the mystical antics that we had at the Disney Store in Manhattan. But, there's nothing that can sort of tickle the soul quite like mentioning the Disney Store to a millennial, and this really does scratch an itch that I, was long gone. So, really happy that I got a chance to do it.
Yeah, and then the one in Jersey will open in September, so something to look forward to. But happy shopping, all of our listeners in Pittsburgh for now, and hopefully soon in New Jersey.
Jersey.
In New Jersey. That's a Rizzo line. I'm from New Jersey.
No, you mean me, Rizzo? Me?
Stay tuned for our chat with James of Guide2WDW about all the exciting new updates and additions to Disney World and the new chapter upon us coming up next.
Hello, Park Peeps, and welcome back to the show. We have a very, very, very exciting repeat, as we have been doing more of this season. We are so glad to be welcoming so many friends back to the show this season. And one of our favorite episodes of last year was truly our deep dive into Test Track version 3.0 with the super knowledgeable James of Guide2WDW. You can go to the website, his YouTube, everything. He just has the best content ever, but he did bring some of his best to our show last year when we talked about Test Track 3.0. So please welcome once again to discuss all of this new stuff that is coming to the Disney World Resort and what this signals about the evolution that we are possibly on the brink of with the Disney parks. Please welcome back Guide2WDW's James.
Welcome back.
I'm doing Kermit arms.
Kermit arms.
Joey, Dummy, Park Peeps, two of my favorite people in the entire world. Thank you so much for having me back. And
so excited.
And I think it's kind of appropriate that we did Test Track last year. That was a big upgrade to that attraction.
Yeah.
And now we have like all the upgrades to talk about. There are so many different rides, so many different things that have been upgraded this summer. So I think there's so much to cover. So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're back with us. First of all, one of the things that I love about this, first of all, being in this space and then starting this podcast is meeting so many incredible people. And Joey and I didn't know James until we did this episode because we were looking up and we just discovered James and we became instant friends. Obviously,
yes.
Lots of nerd talk.
And honestly, James, you were just one of our favorite people to talk to about things like this. I actually, when I was there at Disney last week, I was riding Test Track and I haven't ridden it since the first time I rode it. And I was thinking about you in that episode and I was just look at all the little Easter eggs. And I was oh, I love that episode. And I'm so glad that we're able to bring you back to talk about more things because there's just so much happening at Disney World, and they love to do everything at once.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yes.
Sure do.
I have been covering theme parks for a very long time, and I've been following Disney World for my entire life. I cannot think of a single month where they have put out so many new things at the same time.
Yeah.
And also so many new things that are legitimately really, really exciting and really, really good. And that I'm really excited. It's not like there's something that's just oh, yeah, whatever. Everything is legitimately an upgrade and legitimately there's something for everyone. There's something for small kids. There's something for thrill seekers. There's something for lots of things for Muppet fans. So I'm
for
so
silly
excited
little
to
girls
dive
like me.
this.
Yeah.
I know.
It
felt like it, and it still feels like a marathon of just content and talking about everything. It's I made a big mega video of all the things that have happened, plus my Muppets video. But it's okay, now but we didn't really get into all the details of everything, and then we got to choose all this other stuff and talk about it and how it shapes the future. And I love that we have the podcast to kind of be a place where we can really kind of deep dive into all of it after all is said and done, where we're not focusing on getting the best shot of something too either. And I'm so excited to dive into all of this with you guys.
It's our debrief. It's our little PP debrief. And I really do look forward to these as well. And I want to make it clear to everybody that we know this news is out there.
Yes.
A lot of it was announced on, a lot of this stuff opened already on the 26th, but a lot of it was also announced on May 28th. Yes. However, we're going to be expanding on this stuff, giving you some insight, our projections, because James is really, if you don't read James's stuff on his website already, you need to, because it's when I have a question, and I will go search James's site because it is so well written. It's so thorough. It's really good insight. And I actually used a lot of his site to make the script for today's episode. So we'll be pointing back to that here and there. But
amazing. Thank you, Joey. I really appreciate that.
Very good resource.
Our loose script, we should say.
Yeah, a loose script. Yeah, we're not just strictly reading from
Guys,
this.
I'm not off book. Oh, no.
Off book. We're going to hold you to it. We're going to throw the book at you. Remember, Debbie, throw the book.
No,
I'm bringing it back.
I'm
throw
so
the book.
ADHD. If we don't have some sort of checklist, I'll just start rambling on and on, you guys.
Yes, but I do also just want to say, I know this is my usual disclaimer. Demi and I were invited to the same media trip, and James was also there as well, which is a very nice surprise to see. I looked up and I feel like I saw James, and I got really excited. But I was invited on behalf of Entertainment Weekly. I was not invited on behalf of Park Peeps, and I was able to do a lot of these things outside of the media trip. So if I give any reactions, I'm giving them from either soft opens or Soarin' Across America I was able to do on my last day there, which was not part of the media trip. I extended my stay. So I just have to give that disclaimer. But please go read my coverage on EW.com and also Entertainment Weekly's Instagram. We have a lot of video footage there as well. So I think we should get into, and also please go watch Demi's stuff. I mean, Demi's videos are so good. I might might make an appearance.
My favorite part is when somebody pointed out that I was panning down a bunch of like keychains or something in the Muppet store, and I didn't realize there's like one little sliver of you just see Joey leaning against the wall as I'm panning down.
Modeling, giving face. I'm modeling.
But like, obviously, this was like, I'm the biggest Muppet nerd in the world. So if you want like all of the insane details and me yelling about Ken Marino, please go watch my Muppet video.
Gosh. I think
when I tell you. Oh, wait, I just got to say, when I tell you, I didn't mean to cut you off, James, but there was a moment when we were in the egg. Okay, so Demi is sitting there filming the end of the exit show, and also keep in mind there are light spoilers in this as well for Muppets, but at the end of the ride you get off and there's the big screens there, and I see Demi. I think I was talking to Quincy or who I was talking to someone in the exit, and I see Demi. I'm like, she's off doing her thing out by the screens. I hear out of the court everybody in this shop stopped dead in their tracks because Demi shrieked at the top of her lungs, and I look over, she is jumping up and down. Ken Marino, Ken Marino's in the video. Ken Marino's in the video.
For like 1 second, literally.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
So here's the funny thing about this, and this is what I was going to say. I was right next to Demi, and I was also shouting, Ken Marino.
Was you? Yes.
And we both had the same reaction, but Demi, I think, went to another plane of existence. Like, she started levitating because she saw Ken Marino.
Because I have been talking about... All right, we're just going to jump right... I will come back to this.
Yeah.
I just have to say this really quick. Because I've been saying this on this podcast and in my content for years about how much I love that in the original Rock and Roller Coaster, famous comedic actor Ken Marino had a non-speaking role as the sound engineer, and in his Twitter bio it would say guy from Rock and Roller Coaster, and I was like, man, I really hope they do something like they put him back in the pre-show or whatever. And then I get to the pre-show, he's not in the pre-show, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then you leave the pre-show and you have like the Employee of the Month Scooter, and then there's a giant portrait, and it's like so dark in there, like it needs another light, of Ken Marino of like as just like a G-Force
legend. It says G-Force legend, and the quote is like, look at me now.
And I lost my mind. And then to have like get off the ride, and that video at the end is pretty long, and to get off it and like immediately see Ken Marino's like 1 second cameo in the video part.
My diva lost her mind.
I really did, because you know what? It's those little things that make Disney so awesome. That people like me who are crazy, like the 0.5% of people who are just like, oh, I wonder if they're going to put Ken Marino in this, and they did for us 0.5 people, and I love you for that, Disney.
Even I forgot about Ken Marino. I was looking at, this speaks to my level of interest. I was like, where's Emmy-nominated Cape Fear actress Ileana Douglas? Is she back? And then Debbie and I we're standing in the room where all of the cameos are playing, and that entryway, the G-Force Records entryway, and I know Debbie was filming, but the silent, I was just like...
we weren't really silent, because you could hear it in my video.
We were. Yeah, and it was Ileana Douglas, and she's giving Elmo, she's giving Kermit a massage. She's like, oh, you need to do a super stretch, and I'm just like, this is great. But I think this all will fold into one of the points that we're going to talk about today, which is I do believe that Disney is now, and not in a cringy way at all, like some things are, fully leaning into nostalgia in a very good way that doesn't just feel like fan service. It does feel like an appreciation. And I think that the first thing that we should talk about on this agenda today is what was just announced, the Carousel of Progress changes, which are coming now.
Well, just announced on Thursday, May 28th.
Well, yeah, I mean yes. Thursday, May 28th. Yes, correct. Not today. Thursday, May 28th. But I obviously heard rumblings about this happening from this event, and it's like, my initial gut reaction, which I think everybody's initial gut reaction when something happens like this, is, what the hell? Why? No, you can't do this. However, after thinking about it, and I want to go around the room, I am actually really pumped for this, because just as a reminder to everybody, so they are, in a nutshell, redoing Carousel of Progress, which of course is one of Walt Disney's like paramount attractions. It originally debuted at the World's Fair, but they are now separating it into 4 different acts or eras of time versus what is there now. So Act 1 is going to be the 1960s, Act 2 will be the 1980s, Act 3 will be the new millennium, and then Act 4 will be, quote, the possible future. So, essentially...
Which, doesn't that sound so dark?
It does sound dark, and I really like it. I really, really do like it. Hopefully it's a That's So Raven themed section on the possible future. But I do think that this is... I just think of when she was doing that one episode, and she was like, if I could see into La Futuro. And she says it in Spanish. La Futuro. But this last section is now called The Possible Futuro. And I will just go on my own little thing that all I'm going to say is, number 1, the new poster is a tribute to the original one, which I think shows that their heads are in the right place. Yeah. And I think this is not going to be done cheaply. I don't think it's going to be done like, we kind of got to this is aging. We kind of got to do it. There's real thought behind this, because my thought is the time periods, people growing up now, like, don't have a familiarity, I think, with maybe some of the references that are happening in now. Like, certainly there's some things where I'm just kind of like, this feels old, and it doesn't feel like it's building towards something progressive. It just feels historic. And I don't think that's the point of the attraction. I think the attraction is looking forward, it's progressing, and in order to do that, you have to evolve alongside the audience that's consuming it in order for the soul of the attraction to still work. Now, Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow is still going to be in this. There's going to be some cosmetic enhancements. The theater style is still going to be the same. So I'll turn it over to you, James, first. And then Demi, obviously I want to hear what you have to say about it as well, because you got to experience the event. But James, how did you feel about this announcement?
I have to say, I was surprised with how chill I was about it. I think because when at Destination D23, when they announced that the Walt Disney animatronic is going to be introducing the show.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that's going to replace, right now, it's just kind of the logo of Carousel of Progress. So that's going to be the very first thing that people see is Walt Disney. And it's modeled after that Disneyland Goes to the World's Fair special, where Walt is introducing the concept of audio animatronics and showing off Carousel of Progress and talking about the story. And the original story, it is the 1900s, 1920s, 1940s. And then Walt Disney says, and then the last scene is present day. We are here today. And so it's showing all the progress that they went through over the last 60 years. And so a lot of the humor of that show is going like, oh yeah, remember when grandma used to talk about her icebox all the time? Or remember I remember when I was a kid and like they had the electric lighting for the first time, or whatever it is. It was relevant to that audience that saw it at the 1964 World's Fair. And now, for today's audience, there isn't nostalgia for those eras. There's nostalgia for the show. There's nostalgia for Carousel of Progress. So I think in a way, it's become a show that's about like how historical and important the show is. And I love Carousel of Progress. Like, I absolutely adore it. I think it's important. I think kind of like similar to Muppet Vision 3D. It's like one of these things where it's like, okay, Muppet Vision ties back to Jim Henson in a really direct way. Carousel of Progress ties back to Walt Disney in a really direct way. But unlike when we lost Muppet Vision, which I was really torn up about, this was like, okay, I feel like they are reinventing it in a really proper way, and that they have put the thought in of like, by referencing these different decades that like my parents grew up in the 60s, I was there for the 80s and 1999, and so like which makes me feel old. I feel old. Yeah. But I think about like the Disney adult millennials will be able to go and see these scenes that are pulling off of the progress that we saw throughout our lives of like, when going from cassette tapes to, CDs to MP3 players, or, the dawn of the internet. 1999 is a big year for that. So I think there are going to be these things that are like, if it's not directly relevant to like kids today, it's going to be relevant to their parents, and that they'll understand from the stories that they've heard. So I think based off of the recent track record that Imagineering has with things like Test Track, with Beacon Barrel, with Muppets, and all the things that we'll talk about today, I have a lot of faith that they understand the assignment here, and they are treating this with the proper reverence. It isn't just a thing of like, oh, let's just update it because we need to update it. I think that they're doing it in a really thoughtful way that really brings Carousel of Progress to modern day in a way that I think my impression of Walt was like he was not precious about anything. I think that he would have they updated Carousel of Progress when they brought it back to Disneyland in 1967. This show has been updated multiple times throughout the years. There's been a stretch of time where it didn't have Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow when it first came to Walt Disney World, I believe. I think it was like 10 years that it didn't have that song. So this show has changed and evolved over the years. This is the biggest evolution, and I think the most necessary.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's a great answer, James.
I fully agree. Now, they better not pull a fast one and slip Fantastic Four into the 1960s section. I'll tell you that right now.
God, I know.
They better not do that.
No, but okay. So when I heard the news, my first initial reaction was, I'm going to scream.
Same.
Because here's my thing. But listen, it took. I'm getting there. My first initial reaction to anything closing is I'm going to scream. When it's something so precious like the Carousel of Progress, like I have a poster of it on my wall in my living room. And the World's Fair was in Flushing Meadows Corona Park, which is my backyard. I grew up in, and it's just anything that came from World's Fair is it feels very much like mine. And I know that makes no sense, but it does, and I don't care. And that's only child syndrome right there for you, but. But it's true. So when they said they were going to touch it, I was like, oh my God. But then having thought about it, just the same way of like, of course, it's progress. We need to see it updated in progress. And
a titular role.
And, and I am I've definitely gotten on board. I have already said my goodbyes to it. Yeah.
Already?
Well, it's closing July 5th.
July 5th is the last day. 1 month July 6th is the closure date.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
I don't know if I'll be back in Magic Kingdom because I have a lot of other travel things, and just in case I don't, I said my goodbye to it. And I was crying, and it hurt me. And my thing that just besides the fact that I'm going to be alive, I'm a 90s baby, and the fact that I'm going to be alive for one of the scenes represented in this, that makes me feel really old. And then all of my friends born in the 80s, I'm so sorry that it's 2 of them for you. And then I have to break it to my mom that there's going to be 3 for her. Like, she's not going to be happy about this.
The new Tower of Terror is the rungs of decades that you've been alive to experience on New Carousel of Progress. That's the Tower of Terror right there.
Anyway, so that was like kind of like the shock to me of like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that I'm going to be alive. I don't like that because it's just too real for me. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's fine. My wish, though, I mean, I know you're saying that it's feeling historic, Joey, and not like progress. I believe that first act, that first scene, when they're talking about the icebox and when, I just feel my wish.
Yes, your wish.
I wish they would have kept like one scene from the early 1900s. I really think it's important because how do I say this? I feel like the decades they're doing are really close together. And I know like the originals, they're also really close together, but I think it would have been a nice opportunity to kind of spread out like, maybe like a 40-year gap in between each of them, because then you can really see progress obviously as we go closer into the 80s and the 90s and today, like, technology is constantly changing every 2 seconds, right? So it's much quicker. So it kind of makes sense of why they're doing 80s and then 1990 and 1999 millennia. But I really wish that we would have seen the evolution of like the icebox to the 60s moon landing to maybe then, the millennia or the 80s and not do the millennia.
I think that it would make sense to me if they would do that with something with the Walt animatronic and have that sort of be the home base. But I do also think that the significance is, I mean, the 60s for some reason has a very baked in history with the current Disney audience and the sort of history of Disney. You think of the especially like the sort of late 50s, early 60s aesthetic is something that's still even very apparent in something like Fantasyland or you know, a lot of the artwork that is up in the hotels, and it just
favorite style. Like,
yeah,
sure.
it's so I think that they're really leaning into that, but I do agree that I think maybe having something older, like maybe from Walt's hometown or something as the animatronic in the opening part of it, like you enter the attraction in that scene as sort of Walt just in the original scene from the 1900s or something. I think that might have made more sense. But
Yeah.
I think what they're doing is you start with Walt in 1964 at the World's Fair, or in the lead up to the World's Fair, introducing this attraction, and then you go to 1969. So it's starting like we're moving from Walt, and instead of looking backward, we're starting to move forward. I also just kind of give you some kind of my point of view as a wizened elder millennial. Like the difference between the middle of the 80s and 1999 is actually very significant technologically.
I know that.
But I've also like, I think I'm less talking to you, Demi, because I'm getting barraged with comments today. And there are a lot of people that are like, you know, history is important, and you know, this just doesn't feel historical enough. And I think it's that thing of like people realizing like, actually 1999 was almost 30 years ago.
No, it wasn't,
like,
James. It was 10 years ago, and the 1980s was 20 years ago, and I will not hear anything else about this.
And I think that there's a little bit of a denial going on here of like, people were like, yeah, there wasn't that much progress in the like 69 to 99. I'm just like, you know, as someone who lived through it, it is a, you know, going from the personal, just the invention of the personal computer, and then, you know, cell phones. And there's so much about modern life today that came about. And those early versions are actually really fascinating to look back at, of like, you know, somebody with a very chunky laptop or a giant cell phone. I think those will be the things that it's like, those are the touch points of progress of people going like, oh my gosh, this cell phone's amazing. It lasts for 30 minutes or whatever it is. Like they can make those types of jokes that will land with people of just like, okay, I can relate to that, rather than, I do think it's cool to see the icebox stuff and all of that. But I think it's just like, it becomes a museum piece at that point.
I like the museum part of it, and I want to see more of the museum stuff because I feel like I just saw this. But that's just me.
Well, I do think though that the main point, and I think we can all agree, is, you know, do not hate on the titular role of progress, because it is the titular role in the carousel of progress. Now, I do want to, we have a lot to talk about, so I want to segue into other things. I think we could,
I just want to make it clear, I am still incredibly excited about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the changes, especially Walt, and I'm just salty that I'm old, and that's literally all it is.
Well, as the youngest person on this podcast,
I thought we were going to get out of the denial.
Oh yeah, we were. Whoops. I always forget every time. Thank you for grounding me.
You're welcome.
So just like my parents ground me because I'm 14. But not me sending Demi into a medical fit. The segue point, I think, would be, I do think that this is connected to other things that Disney is doing. It does seem like there's a thread across multiple different sectors of the business too, not only film and theme parks, but I also think of something like Demi with our 2-minute tea time today. This extends out into the merch sector, as Disney has recently begun testing or relaunching Disney stores in 2 cities, my hometown of Pittsburgh, which is where I am right now, and then also Paramus, New Jersey. No clue why they chose these places, but I'm very happy to see that they are. I think they're testing it in, you know, sort of homespun kind of suburban areas. And I think that this really points to Disney is leaning into nostalgia, past references to serve the future, build a trust with, I think, the base that is aging alongside the parks, like us elder millennials. And then
I'm a zillennial.
You know, yes.
I am technically a zillennial. That is the years.
Yes, you are not.
Yes, a zillennial is from 1990.
96 is the cutoff.
No. 96 is when Gen Z starts. So the years of 96, 95, and 94, and maybe even 93 are the zillennial years. And
90. I'm a zillennial. Yes, and 1990. So I'm a millennial. But
I remember when Pokemon was new.
Oh
like,
God,
brand new.
Jeez.
I don't.
Well, you know what, James? We, according to all rumor and speculation, we might have a feeling that Pokemon might be brand new at another resort. But that's another episode for another day. So I do also want to talk about, on the same note, something that I am so personally excited about that wasn't quite ready, I think, Demi, for you to preview on the media trip on your portion of it, but the Magic of Disney animation experience, including the Mary Blair Alice in Wonderland area. There's not really too much to say about it, but I just am
amazing.
So thrilled.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Wait, you got to do it?
Did you not? Joseph Nolfi, you comment on my TikToks and Reels and you don't watch them?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on.
The first thing I said was, I got to tour the art of Disney animation.
Yes, but wait, you got to do the Alice in Wonderland Mary Blair area?
I went in there, yeah.
Yes, we both went in there. We both put on pants in 95-degree Orlando heat and PPE and got to do a behind-the-scenes hard hat tour of the Magic of Disney animation, which was incredible. Now, it was still very much like they're targeting late summer, so it wasn't like we got to go and like go down the slide and like go draw with Olaf. Like it's still, lots of bare walls, lots of things still under construction, but we did get to see, I think, kind of like the most finished area, or the one that felt most finished, was the playground, with the Mary Blair inspired playground. And as a dad of two very young kids, I'm very excited for this area.
Yeah.
I'm in deep pain. I don't know how it didn't clock in my brain that Demi, it was the Mary Blair.
Why
because
do you
I just
think
refer
that I
to
brought
anything as the Mary Blair that she touched.
I was with you that day, and I had a PPE outfit with me in my bag and said, hey, we shared a locker.
Oh, we did. Oh, yeah. You know what? Listen, Demi, if you recall that day, my brain was everywhere. There was moments that I don't even remember. From
Everyone's brain was fried that day.
So that is the worst day for memory. That is the worst day for memory. I do, however, recall that going to After Hours with Jacqueline at Magic Kingdom and Demi calling me in a panic and being like, oh my God, I forgot the bag. Please bring the bag to Magic Kingdom. I was like, okay, don't worry.
Well, they had us leave out a different exit, and I didn't get to go to the front of the park, and I was like, oh my God, all of my stuff is in the locker.
This panicked phone call that I get from Demi, and then I get there, and the locker door isn't even closed. I was like, Demi, I think we forgot a few pieces of this puzzle. But
everyone needs to forgive me for that day.
That was so funny. No, I thought it was really funny. But all of this to say, I do love a Mary Blair. I love to go to the Contemporary and touch the Mary Blair that is in the lobby. And this is one thing that I cannot shut up about. I'm so excited about it. I cannot actually wait to sit inside a Mary Blair world and not just stare up like a psycho at the Mary Blair Grand Canyon Concourse mural that I love to touch.
You do realize there will be children present.
Yeah.
I think you forgot about the fact that this is a children's playground.
Well, yes. And you know what, Demi, you're going to just have to corral them all and be like, now hold on. Your elder Zillennial is going to need to experience the Mary Blair on her own.
Yes.
And then it's nap time.
I do actually highly recommend all of the adults at least pop your head in and look how beautiful it is. And then, get away from the children.
Yes, they do say it's recommended experience for ages 6 months to 5 years. So I know we were just talking about ages, but I think we might be a little bit older than that cutoff.
For me, that means the suppleness of like my skin on my forehead.
Okay.
Because I'm like a 4-year-old on my forehead. So
I will tell you, and James can. I don't know if you'll agree with this. I'm sure you will. What we did see is beautiful, and I expect it to be just a really beautiful immersive space that it's not fair that only children get to experience.
Oh no, I will be experiencing it.
Yes, I think it's going to be a really great. Like I remember the original Magic of Disney animation at MGM Studios and the animation tour when it was a working studio, and you could see the animators working there, and it feels like they're really drawing by like I've heard from a lot of people saying like, oh, that old studio tour was what inspired me to get into drawing or animation or art or whatever it is. It's such an inspiring experience. And somebody from Disney echoed that to us of just like they're drawing on that. They're drawing on the history of the Walt Disney Animation Studios, and they're going to have references of every single animated film that studio has done in this space. And it's going to kind of take you through the entire animation process of like, the Mary Blair area, which is a playground for kids, is all about the concept art. And then they're going to have things about, the Rapunzel meet and greet is going to be like the multi-plane camera. They're also going to have like a 2D animation area, 3D animation area, and just like have a place that's like just a really nice place to, they kind of describe this thing as like a fishbowl of like a place for families to relax. And you can kind of see like, oh, which characters, I think there's like 6 different meet and greets. So like which characters has a long line right now or a short line? Oh, let's go do this. Oh, the playground looks fun. And there's also the drawing class with Olaf. They're going to have a theater with the Once Upon a Studio short film. And then they're drawing in the Robin Williams Lost Boy character from that original animation tour as kind of like the guide throughout. And they said that they are working with the family of Robin Williams to make sure like how they use that character is done in a way that they would approve of. So it all just seems like, this area, the whole courtyard that is open now, the Walt Disney Studios courtyard, is just such an upgrade, especially for families of like now there's like grass and shade and beautiful music. And I've seen so many posts of people showing like, Rapunzel is there telling stories to kids or braiding kids' hairs. And then there's also, Pluto playing Duck Duck Goose with kids. So it's become this like active, lively thing for families to hang out in. And then once later this summer, the magic of Disney animation opens, I think it's just going to turn what used to be kind of like the saddest cul-de-sac in Walt Disney World with Star Wars Launch Bay into just like one of the best places for families to hang out.
Yeah, and it looks so cool. It looks that they're even dressing the little posters and stuff that's out there, and it just I think the roaming character element too. I'm so glad you brought that up. That crosses one thing off my little list because I think that the roaming character element especially taps into a magic that I think a lot of people who are the millennials that are growing up have been, you've been kind of hearing over the past few years of like the magic is kind of I would say the general blanket phrase that you hear from some people being critical of Disney online is quote unquote, the magic is gone. And I feel like this is maybe bridging a gap that many have said in recent years they feel like they might be missing.
I mean, from what I've seen so far, it's the same characters that are, most of them that are listed for the building. So I don't know if they're going to continue roaming once the building is open. But I love a roaming. I think it's very much a Disneyland thing that we don't get because, again, we've talked about this a lot on this podcast. There are certain things that Disneyland can do that guests coming to Disney World it's just not meant for these guests. And that's fine. But I think what's really special too about, and I've been talking about this project for so long. I've been so excited because I never got to experience the old like MGM studios, and I didn't see the Sorcerer Hat, and I didn't get to do a drawing class there. This feels like nostalgic Disney in the best way, in a new and vibrant way. Yeah. My favorite part, I think, that we've seen that you can see in the courtyard, which I will continue to call animation courtyard until it actually clicks into my head that that's no longer what it's called anymore, is you see Pua from Moana, but also Thumper from Bambi, and then you'll see the mice from Cinderella and Timothy Mouse, like all these characters.
Timothy Chalamet,
Timothy Mouse from Dumbo, and it's like all of these like different characters. Like I love seeing like the old character with the new character, and it's just like a celebration of Disney animation, and that's what's very specific. Yeah, it's not Pixar, it's not Disney Junior, it's Disney animation.
Sure
and
is.
I think because, and I say this, I don't mean to like shade this at all, but I think because people have this like such high regard for Pixar that sometimes we forget about to celebrating the incredible Disney animation. And I am just really glad that this is an entire home just for that.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was thinking that actually too, because every time I go down, I make sure I do Mickey's PhilharMagic. And I was even thinking that, Demi, of, it's a weird balance because I feel like there is a whole generation that might be growing up, as crazy as it is to say, who might only know who like Jasmine or Belle or these characters are because of the parks, and not because, like me, they grew up with watching those big chunky fluffy VHS tapes.
Yeah.
So I do think that this is an important, they're not only doing this to have a good experience for families in the parks and to tap into a nostalgia for older people, it's a way to educate the younger audiences on the importance and the backbone that sort of served to, it's what the modern parks stand on,
right.
is the sort of Disney revolution and animation. So I do think it serves an important role in that sense too. So I love this. I love our enthusiasm for it. And we already mentioned Animation Courtyard and all of that. We covered that, except the hat. I think the hat's really cool now that there's a glistening hat. It's amazing. It looks so pretty. We got to see it. It was really great. But
yeah, a surprise opening. That was amazing.
Yeah. But so the other things, just briefly, I don't want to get too deep into these, but Jesse's Roundup show at Diamond Horseshoe is a new thing that opened. Goofy Core Dance Party at Communicore Hall at Epcot. The Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse live show, which bless our dear friend Quincy would not shut up about this all week.
We're talking about this for a lot because, first of all, I didn't know that this is the same show that they have over in DCA. It's so good that they brought it here, which let me tell you, I have been singing Where's Daisy since the moment I watched it. And so is Quincy. The music's so good. The production value is so good. I mean, I'm going to be just totally honest. I'm going to miss so much It's a Disney Junior party. All right. I love that song. But it's such a great show. Like, honestly, even if you don't think you're maybe age appropriate enough for it, you are. Okay, go see it. It's so good. I know it's Disney Junior, but it's a really good show.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, my kids loved it. They danced the whole time. My buddy Mike Walsh from the Nerdist, he just sent me a video of his son who's 4 and my son who's 5, like dancing and grooving down to all the songs in the show, and it's just like the most adorable, wholesome thing. And I think, like, you know, if you remember the old Disney Junior show, like it had, and this is something that's like, I only know because I'm a father of young kids, but it was like, oh, they're referencing the Mickey show that's like 2 Mickey shows ago with Roadster Racers. And it has like is it Lion Pride?
Lion Guard.
Doc McStuffins, Lion Guard. Yes. Yeah. So Doc McStuffins, it was in Vampirina. It was all these shows where it's like, oh, they aren't on Disney Junior anymore. And yes, you can stream them if it's on Disney Plus. There are a lot of them that were like, hey, these, like, I checked into it and it's like, oh, there have been like, this was canceled in like 2001. And so I think by swapping to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and like it's the classic gang is there, I think it's going to be a little bit more timeless, even if something, you know, programming changes with Disney Junior. I think that there's always going to be an appetite to see Mickey, Minnie, and the gang.
Yeah.
Not in this house. Oh, actually, in this house, yes, there will be an appetite to see Mickey, but not the show. So, anyway, moving on from that, there was also the Bluey experience that opened at the conservation station at Animal Kingdom. So that is something for the little ones in Bluey, which is technically not a Disney property, but is now being licensed to Disney to use in the parks.
Can I just say, as someone, I'm sure, James, you've gotten this so many times over the years, I've just been asked so many times, when's Bluey coming? Is Bluey at the park? Mm-hmm. Where's Bluey? Mm-hmm. Is Bluey here?
No, ma'am.
And finally she's there.
Yes, ma'am.
I just need her. I needed her to be there just so I can say, yeah, she's there. Please.
Yeah. Just a blind spot. Blind spot for me. I don't want this Bluey.
I've seen every episode of Bluey at least like 10 times. There's 150 episodes. I have a 5-year-old and 2-year-old. And it is legitimately really good. And like, I have tried my best. I let Blippi into this house, and it was like, that was a mistake. And I've tried to erase Blippi from this, like he is a Batman villain. But Bluey is delightful. It is all about emotional intelligence. It's all about play. It is just the sweetest show. And it's also genuinely funny. And I think like them putting it in Conservation Station, I saw a lot of people being like, why are they doing that? That kind of seems random. But it's all about emotional intelligence and empathy and what is conservation and taking care of animals but emotional intelligence and empathy. And in these episodes, like there's an episode about recycling that isn't just like, it's important to recycle, but it's actually like a really like thoughtful, genuine thing. And I think we saw a preview of it. I haven't seen the one at Animal Kingdom, but I think there's a way of like, hey, they are playing the games from the show with the characters there, and there's a way for kids to learn through play. So I think it's like it's going to be hard for a lot of families to make it their way on the train, get the virtual queue, all of that, because it's going to be in high demand. But I do think it's actually a thoughtful placement.
It's something that Animal Kingdom desperately needs right now, too,
Yes,
just in terms of capacity.
That's true.
They need to
100%.
draw people to that area of the park
Also,
because they just need to funnel people out of other ones.
Kangaroos.
Yeah. And kangaroos and wallabies.
Sure.
And narrations by Robert Irwin for the train.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is true.
I did love that touch. I didn't know that was happening until it debuted, and I thought that was really beautiful that they added Robert Irwin and all of these new animals. That was really sad that the affection section was going away. But I mean, for kangaroos, I mean, how was he so? I don't think I've ever seen a kangaroo in person, and I've been to lots of zoos.
Yeah. All right. I'm done with Bluey.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Chill.
I'm done with her. But the other thing, just briefly, I don't think we have to talk too much about, but Mandalorian and Grogu storylines added to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
It's huge. It's huge. It's a
we
huge
are
change.
running so
We
over
are
on
not.
time.
No, we're
and
not.
it's
No, we're not. We're going to talk about it. Everyone, you want to listen to about this, right?
It's
That's
a
right.
big change.
Yeah. It's huge, Joey. I don't even think you realize how huge it is because it's not just a new storyline. The entire
his little baby.
Yes, the entire game is new and improved. James, you want to? You can take the lead here about the game and all.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work that they did behind the scenes. So when it debuted in 2019, the whole thing of Millennium Falcon ran on Unreal Engine 4. And so now they've upgraded to Unreal Engine 5, which Disney has a deep relationship and partnership with Epic Games, which are the makers of Unreal Engine. And so one of the things is just like the ride looks way better.
Yeah.
It runs smoother. Everything is up-resed. Everything looks clearer. It's like closer to Star Tours than like Star Tours is always going to look better because it's pre-rendered. It's not rendered in real time. But Millennium Falcon running in real time on these like massive graphic cards that they have running this, that they also upgraded, just looks way better. And they've completely changed which planets you go to. It's a lot more classic Star Wars in this attraction. It's a lot more, I think, what people were hoping for with the original version of Millennium Falcon. So it isn't just like, oh, they added, Mandalorian and Grogu. There's a lot of changes that it's like, Mandalorian and Grogu are there, and it does have a story function, and there's a lot of cute Grogu stuff that happens. But I think, like, for me, the bigger change is like, oh, it has the classic Star Wars music. It has, you go to Cloud City, you go to the Death Star, you go to Coruscant. Like, it has those locations that it's like, that's the thrill I get from Star Tours. Whereas the original version, you went to Corellia, which was like, that was only seen in the first like 15 minutes of Solo. Which, everyone's favorite movie that we all reference all the time.
We remember Solo.
Number one Star Wars movie for everyone. So I think that it's just like, this is a really, really big update that adds a lot of variety, a lot of rewritability. Yeah. And just it updates it in a really smart way that, like, in kind of tying all of this together, they didn't have to close the ride to update this.
Yeah.
They updated it overnight. And when we got to go on our preview, they didn't close down the attraction for regular guests. Yeah. Regular guests were going on. I think they set one of the simulators for us to go to ride on during the preview event, but they were able to run this entirely, like two different versions of the ride entirely. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that they're doing behind the scenes that's really made possible by the work that they're doing with Unreal Engine.
Yeah. I mean, also just like I feel like everything is just smoother too. It's a lot easier to pilot. It's like, I mean, Joe, you can still crash all you would like, but they're giving the engineer something to do. I will also say there might be a hidden mode somewhere around in there, but I was told I can't be too specific, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, what? That's public.
I know it's public, but I was told don't be specific. I'm listening to my rules. That's all.
Okay.
If you want to find that, let James.
I'll respect your rules.
Let James tell you.
I have a video about this secret mode.
Oh, I made a full video about it, and then they were like, "Let's keep it vague," and I was like, "Bet, sure, okay." So I don't want to ruffle any feathers. So that's just I'll just say that.
That's fair. That's fair enough. But there are secret modes. There is also like there's some branching paths. There's like at the very beginning when you're on Tatooine, which acts as like the tutorial. There's a very beginning moment of like go to the left or go to the right. Yeah. And that has more like with the old version of the ride, there wasn't really that control. Like you were kind of like on rails and it was just about avoiding the obstacles. Right. Now you have a bit more control.
Yeah, listen. I get that y'all are excited. I have to be unbiased, and I will say that because I trust y'all. Yeah. I trust that what you're saying is pertinent and relevant and good. But however, I just feel like the more that is added to a Star Wars thing, I just don't get it. You were saying names that I've never heard in my life.
Band plays.
Yeah,
oh, great. Don't know who they are.
Yes,
and that is it.
I know that. I know
there
that.
You go. So you know something.
And an interesting thing that doesn't always play every time. That happens on Coruscant, but doesn't always play. God. I think if the engineer presses like a Grogu button at the right time.
Oh, really? Because
when it was just throw more proper nouns at Joey.
I'm growing weary.
It was just me and Jeremy. We got to do it twice. The first time it didn't happen, but the second time did. And the first time we were pilots, and the second time we were gunners. We didn't get to be engineers yet. We didn't have enough time to do it a third round, but it happened on our gunner time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm growing weary.
Yeah, there's lots of things. There were things that I noticed. One of the times that I went, I noticed the voice of a very prominent Star Wars character. That very prominent cameo. That's a fun surprise. I will save
Laura
Joey
Dern
by not
not Laura
naming
Dern.
who it is.
Pew pew.
Laura Dern.
Wait, was it Laura Dern?
No.
I was gonna say she's like in like one Star Wars movie.
Ugh.
But there's a lot more classic Star Wars in there. As a huge Star Wars nerd, as you can probably tell, I was happy. I think that this is a big upgrade over what was there before. I went on it 11 times, and I still didn't see, like, I was still seeing new things each time I went on. So I think that they've really set this ride up for the future.
Oh my gosh, you went 11 times?
Yeah.
Good for you. I was busy at Muppets.
Great. Which we're going to get on to, because you know what? Laura Dern is the most important thing about Star Wars to me, if that tells you anything about how I feel about Star Wars, because I will only be crashing as the pilot again on this attraction. So
as you push children out of your way.
A child hates to see me coming on this ride because I will push them out of the way to be the pilot and then just crash.
Yeah, just push them out of the way at the Mary Blair playground, then push them out of the way to be pilot.
It's all for me.
Having a great day at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
He's like, I paid to be here.
They didn't have a job. So, so listen.
Really quick.
The other one,
Soren.
I was just gonna say we can like Soren. We don't really need. I did it on my. Yeah, I did it on my last day there. The day before it opened. Like I said, I extended my stay a little bit. I went over to Epcot. I did it. I thought it was fine. Like it's. I do kind of have a weird feeling about the whole like America like thing right now. It just kind of feels odd.
I think you just have to look at it in the lens of just like, you know, regardless of that part, it's just like the beauty of the land itself.
It was gorgeous
and undeniable. Yeah. I think the beginning with the rocket launch is unbelievable.
Oh, I thought it was great. Yeah.
Best intro to Soren ever.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there were some scenes that maybe dragged a little too long. I also don't believe that was the real New York skyline because I usually can see it was downtown. They were showing mostly downtown, and I can usually see one of the places where I work for theater, and did not see it there.
Yeah, so, it was fine. It was good. I mean, I don't mean fine in a negative. I mean, like, it was fine. Like, it was, I'm not, like, super excited about it, but I was kind of like, that was nice.
Yeah. I feel like it's the most chill Soren. Like it felt like the
For
most
sure.
relaxing Soarin' that they've
Yeah.
done. I still like California better. I think what I like about this is that it kind of proves like the concept of like, hey, they can kind of change out Soarin' now. Now they have 3 different
Yes.
iterations that they can go to, and they've proven like they'll bring back California. So now it can be, and maybe like they'll figure out something where it's like, you know, you go on and you don't know which version you're going to get, or they have 3 theaters there, and like one's playing the America version, one's playing World. I don't know what they'll do with it, but give some options for the future. And like,
Surprise rocket launch.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that
like,
idea, though. That's a great idea, James.
yeah, I don't know how they would figure out the smells for that, but I also feel like they could figure that out. Like I like what it means for Soarin', and my son loved it. My wife loved it. I was definitely feeling like, I felt like some of the transitions kind of were a little
wonky.
Not as dynamic as the other 2 versions.
Yeah, it was odd. That was just like a screen wipe, and I was like, "What? Why are we now?" And from the ocean to the city.
I just felt like
what-
we were crashing into that snowy mountain in Alaska for a really long time.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. And also, I have to say, we were in the Grand Canyon for a very long time, but when we were like inside the canyon, that felt amazing. I
was cool.
I rode with Jeremy. We both really enjoyed it. I mean, I think what James said, I think what's so fun is to like experience something new. And I want more. I'm greedy. That's the thing. You give me one thing, now I want more of Disney. Make Soarin' over, I don't know, I don't know. Like, well, I mean, you could do like
Soarin' over Laura Dern's house.
Well, like, you guys know that in New York we have a Soarin' over New York, right?
There's one in Las Vegas. There's one in There's one in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, near Dollywood.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just like that we can have different versions.
People like to soar over things.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, yes. And you know what? Unfortunately, since we are now way over time, we are now going to have to soar over the Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets very quickly. Very quickly. We are going to have to, because we are already at an hour. So we do need to do this one very quickly, because we still have a whole other section to do. But listen, I think this one is the best to probably go over quickly, because Demi has so much content online.
Yeah.
We have talked about it so much. I have posted some things. James has covered this. Like, this is probably the most accessible content that you can go and seek out of things that we have done. But I just think it's important to also connect this back to, I think even on the smaller scale, I do think at the end of the day, they're laying something over an existing attraction, but I think it's done to a very high quality. They did it in a very fast amount of time. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like a throwaway. It doesn't feel like, oh, we just slapped something on this ride and called it a day. It feels very considered. It feels like it is leaning into a lot of what fans wanted, which is, it feels like it because of this attraction, it doesn't really feel like the Muppets Vision 3D legacy has gone away. I think this is a really nice way to preserve it without feeling like a museum. It does feel like they've incorporated, like, the Muppet Vision exists in the world of this ride. And you see, like, there's crates and things shipped over from MV3D Theater. There's tons of references to Pizza Rizzo, and there's even a dinosaur reference in the pre-show. There's a little iguanodon and a Carnotaurus. So it does feel like the world of these things is living on through this. Ileana Douglas is back playing the exact same role that she played in the first Rock and Roller Coaster. Ken Marino's back. I mean, these things are all existing now in the same world. It's not just, well, we're going to throw in a little Easter egg here to give the Muppet Vision fans, throw them a bone. It's like, no, this literally is taking place inside the Muppet Vision 3D and Rock and Roller Coaster universe. So it feels really special. And, the lines were super long on opening day, and I think that there's an appetite for this. And Demi, I know you got your little life being there for this. So your reaction to riding this for the first time, what did that feel like?
Well, what's so funny is I was never like the biggest Rock and Roller Coaster fan, like in terms of the actual roller coaster part. I was always felt like a little bit rough for me. It just wasn't my favorite track layout. And can I be totally honest? All of that went away as soon as I started hearing Born to Be Wild. That was my first one.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that Disney did our ride POVs. They sent it back without sound, but even so, and I was pointing everything out on the attraction or whatever. But even so, it was just like, I don't know. I know the track wasn't changed at all, but everything just felt better. I love riding it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but I think really it's just like the full experience of it all, the immersiveness, the hearing the Muppets, it makes it way more fun for me, at least. I think that, for me, regardless of the ride itself, it's everything that's around the ride. Because one of the comments that I kept getting was like for people who just saw like my POV that I posted on like socials, it's like, it's just a lazy reskin. And I'm just like, no, it's not.
It's so not.
First
really
of all,
not.
like it's not at all. They did such an incredible job. Like I will tell you,
really did.
I'll be the first one to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm the world's biggest Muppet. Like I'll be the first one to tell you like if they didn't. And they really knocked it out of the park. I mean, this is something that I've been talking about forever, that the Mayhem should be here, and they really did everything so
Gaga's Mayhem,
so perfect. I mean, not only did in true Muppet fashion, bringing in the celebrities, they've always done that, bringing in all, having that part in the pre-show where each time you go, you could get like one of 5 Muppets coming on, I think was great to incorporate all of the Muppets.
And the penguins.
Yeah,
they're
the
back.
Penguins are back. Scooter does a death drop as an animatronic. We love that. I mean, he does. It's amazing.
He really does.
I didn't see that part. Wait, what he does?
Literally does a
It's
death
the
drop.
very end. At the very end of the pre-show.
I wasn't paying attention.
He's overwhelmed and he faints. It's
poor little guy.
I mean, if Ken Marino is not what seals the deal for you, as they went so deep and immersive into this, then I don't know what to tell you. Or like when you're in you're in the room before the pre-show and you hear there's like a Vitrola, is that what that's called? The like a little like record announcer thingy, and you hear Bunny. Has anyone seen a bunny? Like they really outdid themselves. I think what is going to what is upsetting, I think, and what I've already kind of come to terms with, I was never drank this Kool-Aid, is that people were really hoping that Muppet Vision would come back for where the villain show is eventually, and I never thought that was going to happen. I was like, we have to just.
It can't. It technologically can't work in that building.
It's done. Like we can't. I mean, if having so much of the sets and props from the original Muppet Vision 3D in the queue is not enough proof for you, then I don't know what is. And listen, I'm devastated that it's over. I've cried more than you could possibly imagine, but we need to now get a grip onto reality and mourn the loss and just accept the new at this point, and just and
it's a good new.
It's a great new. I'll still never get over it. I'm still devastated, but this is we can't change it. That's what it is.
No.
Yeah, and I will say, as someone who was really mourning the loss of Muppet Vision and kind of skeptical when they announced Muppet Vision's going away and the Muppets are coming to Rock and Roller Coaster, I was just kind of like, Muppet Vision is such a perfect piece of theme park entertainment, and putting the Muppets in Rock and Roller Coaster, I was just unsure, because it's one of the roughest rides, most intense rides at Disney World, highest height requirement. It's not as accessible, and so it was just kind of like, I don't know. And so I came into this like feeling like, okay, they're gonna do a good job putting in some references, kind of giving it a Muppet treatment. And I was blown away by how much of the spirit of Muppet Vision lived on in this attraction. There are so many references to Muppet Vision, so many references to the Aerosmith version of Rock and Roller Coaster. And one of the things, there were 2 moments that things clicked for me. One, I was talking to Imagineer David Brescia, who was the story lead and writer on this. And he said they treated this like it's the Muppets doing Rock and Roller Coaster, similar to the Muppets doing Treasure Island or Muppet Christmas Carol, where it's like, oh, Rock and Roller Coaster, this story, this framework is kind of like this big thing in theme park canon now. And now it's the Muppets taking on all those different roles of the band and the manager. And there's so much more there to this ride in terms of gags and story and all of this in the ride than there was before. The pre-show is so improved over what it was. The screen is like so crystal clear. It does look like the Electric Mayhems right there. The Scooter animatronic is incredible. And
it's really good.
It's really good. They mocapped a Muppet to make that happen. We had the incredible privilege to see the Muppets perform live, see the Electric Mayhem perform live, and Scooter had a little bit. It was incredible, but Scooter had a bit during that. And seeing Scooter, like I was about 10 feet away from Scooter, my mind's melting. But seeing him live and seeing that animatronic live had a similar effect. Like, it felt the same. They did such a good job capturing the puppetry of it. Like, Scooter's arm has an arm rod that's driven by, like a little mechanical arm. It's just like, they didn't just make an animatronic, they made a puppet that's puppeteered by mechanics. It looks
insane. Like there's someone under there doing it. It really does look like that. It's that kind of attention to detail that makes this very clear that this is not just a slap a sticker on a thing and call it a new attraction. Yeah. And I do think, James, I'm glad you brought up the point of it, sort of, because I'm not nowhere near as knowledgeable about the Muppets as Demi is, but my familiarity with the Muppets often does come from them doing things like Muppet Treasure Island or the Muppets Thanksgiving special that had RuPaul and Gaga and, the Haunted Mansion, Muppets Haunted Mansion, because it is those things where I did kind of associate growing up, like, oh, the Muppets are this thing that kind of come out and do not like a satire, but they are sort of integrated into other things as these sort of supporting characters that sort of reference or spoof these things. And I do think this attraction continues that legacy because you are, it's not just, well, we're trying to fool everybody and passing this off as like, oh, this is a new attraction with no, this is literally the same way Muppets Haunted Mansion is Haunted Mansion with a Muppets twist. This is Rock and Roller Coaster with a Muppets twist. It's a fusion of things, not a full overlay.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially the Muppets are like a theater group that does different shows. That's kind of like what they do. What I think I loved the most was that when we did get to see the Electric Mayhem, which I could not believe that was real as the number one Spotify listener of the Electric Mayhem, they fully said like, oh, that's not Scooter in there, that's an animatronic. So the Mayhem are fully aware that they're not in there, that they made a ride, and like they're not trying to like be like, oh yeah, come look at us in the ride. No, we made the ride, it's there for you now, and we're gonna go back on the road and tour.
It's great. It really is great. I really enjoyed it.
And I think the music, like, can't undersell how big a part the music plays. And like, people watching ride POVs, like, I think they might look at it and go like, oh, they didn't change enough, or that the variety of songs going from classic rock, and there's a bit of funk, there's like Love Roller Coaster is my favorite thing on that ride, and I was singing along with it on the ride, and like, it turned that ride into a party. And I think like Rock and Roller Coaster was my first roller coaster with an inversion. It graduated me up to bigger roller coasters when I was 12 years old. And I think that by putting the Muppets here and having them do their version of Rock and Roller Coaster, it's going to be such an inviting, like, first big roller coaster for, that 8 to 12-year-old range that are like, okay, I'm brave enough now to do an inversion.
I think it can serve that purpose, but I don't think that necessarily was maybe even at the forefront of their minds in making this. I think that this really was because the people who really, really like Muppet Vision and the Muppets are it's an older millennial to older crowd. So I do think that a more adult oriented attraction, I don't think kids are necessarily having that same sort of emotional attachment to the Muppets. So I do think stepping it up and making it a more mature attraction is a way of making sure that this generation that is aging alongside these things that they're very emotionally connected to has an attraction that is catered more to their tastes versus like a child.
Well, this is my only issue, is that the reason why there's like a huge maybe gap in maybe children not now knowing is because there really hasn't just been a lot of Muppet content but that's not also necessarily true. Like, there was Muppets Now during COVID. It just wasn't like the greatest Muppet project. If you have not watched, there's only one season of it, and I just binged it for like the 5th time this week. The Electric Mayhem show on Disney Plus is amazing. It's unbelievable, and it's a great thing to watch, especially before you ride this, so you can really know the Electric Mayhem a little more. They do a lot of backstory. It's hysterical, and there's great music. And my hope is, I know that we have to say, we're not going to get back Muppet Vision. I'm hoping that there will be some sort of other Muppet thing in the parks that younger children can experience, because the whole thing is that when you expose children at a young age to something.
To Laura Dern.
Why do I love the Muppets? Because thankfully I had a parent that also loved the Muppets and bought all the VHS tapes, and I watched Treasure Island and Christmas Carol on repeat. Like, those were like the big 90s ones, and then all of the other movies and every little Muppet thing, and I was just consuming it as a child. When you watch these things as a child, you want to see it as an adult. So I'm hoping that they do incorporate the Muppets somehow. I would love the Liberty Square show to come back, especially for the 250th anniversary. I think that would be a great idea. I mean, I don't know what happened to our Miss Piggy Fountain, but could have put her into Regal Eagle. I'm so thankful that something that I manifested for so long came true, but I never wanted it to be at the expense of Muppet Vision or something that everyone can experience together. Because not also on top of it, like, I have friends in their 40s that just aren't going to ride this attraction anymore.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I'm hoping for more Muppets. I'm hoping that this, like, it seems like it's very well received. I hope that this is extremely popular. I think it's a great way also for people to get introduced to the Muppets, of just like, Muppet Vision was a big wave that I was introduced to the Muppets when I was a kid. And so I think that it's just one of those things that, I think people are going to have more fun on this attraction seeing the Electric Mayhem than seeing Steven Tyler. Like, just straight up. Like, so yeah. I think that this is just, I was taken back by how much I loved this update and how much it made those, like, it like brought up warm nostalgic feelings for Rock and Roller Coaster, which was a ride that I would skip on many trips, of just like, yeah, I've done it a lot over my life, that now Same. I'm excited to, like, my last day at Disney World was on Monday, and it soft opened, and I was like trying to pack up stuff, and I had that itch of like, maybe I should go run in and get in line for it. And I'd been on it 4 times just a few days ago. So like, I'm excited for what they've done with it. I think it kind of stands with Guardians at California Adventure as like a really quick turnaround retheme that like reinvigorates a ride in a really smart way. So I'm, and it's like immensely rewritable with the different pre-shows, with the different songs. Statler and Waldorf are there. They have different lines as your limo is coming down. There's lots of quotable lines. I love everything that they did. I thought they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of this to say, this boils down to, I think, one key question that can set us looking towards the future. I do think there are things that we can look at with all of the things that we've talked about, which also Big Thunder Mountain opened as well just recently. That wasn't sort of included in all of this thing that Disney announced on Thursday, May 28th, and opened on the 26th. But it isn't, we can, I think, look to that as an indicator of quality for something like Piston Peak. And we also have D23 coming up with major announcements. Villains Land updates will be a thing. And our dear friend Drew, the Disney dude, in a new video, he cast out on prior reporting that Villains Land was sort of downgraded or familyfied. And this brings the question of, you have to consider the park's direction under Josh, because I do think it is very exciting. I mean, and James, on your site, you do have a really cool breakdown of his history. He spent 28 years working with the parks. His trajectory is wild. He was vice president of Animal Kingdom, oversaw Pandora. He's president of Disneyland Resort at the Galaxy's Edge opening. He was chairman of Disney Experiences in 2020 until his role now. So how do we think all of this under him? How do we think the park's approach differs from that under Iger? And what are we expecting from Josh, and what clues do we have from these additions so far that point to his approach to the parks in the future? James, I'll start with you.
I think that something to look at, it's not like, okay, Josh D'Amaro was just placed as CEO and now we get all these great new things. These are things that have been in the works for years. But one of the first moves that when Iger 2.0 happened, that Josh D'Amaro did back in 2.0. Yeah, back in 2023 he was instrumental in bringing Bruce Vaughan back to lead up Imagineering.
Yeah.
Bruce Vaughan was with Imagineering in the 90s through 2016, I believe, and then he left and he went off to like a tech startup world. And so Fast Company just had a write-up about how Bruce Vaughan brought a startup attitude to Imagineering. And one of the things that Demi and I attended a media panel and kind of talked about, I asked them, like, how are they doing these updates, kind of timing them with, like, Buzz Lightyear was just updated and Toy Story's coming out soon, and Millennium Falcon on the same day as Mandalorian Grogu. And they mentioned that they're working at a faster pace now. And I think, and you look at the Olaf robot the free roaming robot that they just debuted in Paris. So cute, amazing. I was able to see it in person. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. That took about 4 months for them to develop, which is insane. That's are crazy. Working at a breakneck pace. And I think part of that is Josh D'Amaro bringing Bruce Vaughan back and kind of like trusting him to do his thing with Imagineering. The other thing that Josh D'Amaro was instrumental in 2024, Disney announced $60 billion investment into the parks, and also the investment into Epic Games. And Josh D'Amaro kind of has touted that as the stuff that he's been driving. So they've been talking the talk of we're investing in the parks. We're investing in the parks. We have this person who's creatively respected leading Imagineering. And now I think we're seeing the fruits of that. So all the moves that they made in 2023 and 2024, we started to see some of it with Test Track, with Beak and Barrel, with the level of theming and all of that. And then this year, with all of the updates that they've done, in what Disney has described as their singles and doubles of updating Buzz, updating Big Thunder, updating Millennium Falcon and Muppets. Yeah. And Buzz is fantastic.
So good.
It's
so much better.
I was taken aback of just this makes me feel like when Buzz was new in 1999 and I was riding it for the first time. It was so good. Awesome. I think that they are showing, with these big projects on the horizon, with Piston Peak, with Monsters, with Tropical Americas and Villains, there's reason to be really excited about those bigger things. But I think they're also going to continue to find these ways to reinvest into these classic attractions, because that also makes a big difference for the parks and the experience. It's not just the new big e-ticket. It's also taking a ride like Buzz that's been around since 1999 and really reinvigorating it. Yeah. And I've heard nothing but positive things about Buzz. And I know that that's been a really popular redo. And so I think that this is I think with Josh D'Amaro being CEO, I think we can expect more of this type of investment, and that this will just continue to move forward.
I agree. I think it's really nice to see. And the last thing let's float this out there. James, do you think, am I getting too far ahead of myself? Could we see an era where Disney once again, and I'm saying this because we did just see my favorite little guy, Albert, with a walk-around puppet character. They invested in that for Hong Kong Disneyland. Could we see an era where Disney once again leans into original characters and rides without IP, such as the last one, Expedition Everest?
No. James,
I
Demi.
think it's possible.
You do?
I think it's possible. I think, there's so much that is driven by hey, what is happening with the studio and all of that. And they feed into each other, but it's also, Disney has this great past of with Haunted Mansion and Pirates and other, Figment, other parks IP that does drive other things. It drives merchandise. It drives movies. I think it would be smart for them to invest in some original parks IP stuff. And I think the fact that they're putting so much reinvestment in Big Thunder and Carousel of Progress and, Test Track, they didn't add Lightning McQueen to Test Track. I think that there could be a hope for that. I'm more if you asked me that about 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been no way.
Said no.
So I think I think that they recognize the value of the parks IP that they create. And, who knows, if somebody has a great new idea and wants to do a great new attraction that's original, I'd be all for it. And maybe there will be enough creative leeway and power within Imagineering to be able to be like, okay, yes, let's do this and let's put our might behind it.
If anyone is gonna, I think, be able to be swayed to do it, I think it's Josh.
Yeah.
So I look forward to the Laura Dern original experience at the parks. But yeah, what a lovely chat, James. You're always so insightful, and I really appreciate your time. And it was so nice to get to see you next week in person, even briefly.
Last week,
even though I was running, or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I just, we were all kind of running around like crazy people. But when it's theme park stuff, it's all fun. So we thank you for sharing your insight again with us.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so much fun. There's so much fun chatting with y'all. So happy to be here, and this was just such a thrill and such an exciting time to be talking about Disney World.
Oh my gosh, for sure. We really appreciate you being on. Thank you so much, James. I'm really excited to see all of your coverage of everything and beyond from all the new stuff. You do such an amazing job, and we just appreciate you having you on and being a wonderful repeat. And we can't wait to talk to you again at some point about
in the club.
Always love to repeat.
Love to repeat. Everyone, make sure to go subscribe to James on YouTube at Guide2WDW. Follow him on TikTok at Guide2WDW, but then on Instagram, Guide2Disney. Correct?
Yes.
That's it. We did it.
Very specific.
I know. I'm going to try to fix that one of these days.
One day. And then also make sure to go check out James's website, Guide2WDW, for even more tips and tricks as you are planning your Disney vacation. But as we looked into Disney's future, this episode of Park Peeps is now in the past. Thank you again, James, for joining us again. We love seeing you, and we love you and everything that you do. So thank you for being here again.
Oh, Thank y'all. The love is mutual.
Yay! And as we said at the top of the episode again, point you to all of James's stuff, but also make sure you're following us at Park Peeps Pod, at Joey Nolfi, and at Magical Hijinks. You know that is HIJINX on social and YouTube. And stay tuned next week for another all-new episode. See you in the parks, y'all, because there's a great big beautiful tomorrow. James, you want to...
Laura Dern, Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. Pew, pew.